Hello everyone, today we'll tell you about a case that happened in 2012 in Thuong Binh Village, Dong Then County, Bao Thap City, Shaanxi Province. This was a case assessed as extremely brutal. The perpetrator's name even became a source of terror for local residents at that time. Please watch this video to find out what case we are about to present today. Hello. Welcome to our channel. On the afternoon of July 25, 2012, young Leo Luo, 13 years old, a middle school student in Thuong Binh Village, Dong Then County, Bao Thap City, Shaanxi Province, was walking home from school when he suddenly noticed a mobile phone lying face down in the low grass by the roadside. Leo picked up the phone to check it. The phone screen was scratched, but it looked quite new. It didn't seem like something discarded. Leo thought someone might have accidentally dropped it. Since he couldn't turn it on, Leo decided to put it in his pocket and take it home to show his parents. Because the found mobile phone was the same brand as the one belonging to his father, Larry Luo, Mr. Luo plugged a charger into it. Luckily, when he plugged it in and pressed the power button, the phone lit up. However, because the phone screen was locked, Mr. Luo couldn't explore anything inside. There was no way to know who the phone belonged to. Mr. Luo decided to take out the SIM card and put it into his own phone. His phone then displayed some unfamiliar numbers stored on the SIM card. Mr. Luo guessed that these numbers might belong to acquaintances of the owner of the lost phone, so he randomly called one of them. The person who answered on the other end was male. He introduced himself as Daniel Cao. Daniel Cao asked Larry Luo why he had his cousin Chloe Cao's phone number. After hearing the explanation, Daniel Cao began to feel uneasy. Chloe Cao lived in Hin Dinh Village. Why would her phone appear in Thuong Binh Village? This question popped into Daniel Cao's mind. Daniel Cao then contacted his uncle, Mr. Cao, who was Chloe Cao's father. Mr. Cao said Chloe hadn't returned home since the previous evening. She had sent a message beforehand. In the message, Chloe said she would go to her best friend's house and stay overnight, then go straight from her friend's house to work in the morning. Mr. Cao knew his daughter had a close friend named Olivia Ngo in Thuong Binh Village, so he thought it was possible his daughter had accidentally dropped her phone while traveling. Everyone's demeanor was quite normal. At that time, until around 6 p.m. the same day, a young woman came to Mr. Cao's house. The woman introduced herself as Jenna Shou. Jenna Shou asked where Chloe Cao was. Why hadn't she come to work today, and why hadn't she informed anyone? The information from Jenna Shou made the family start to feel uneasy. Mr. Cao then went to Olivia Ngo's house, his daughter's best friend in Thuong Binh Village, to find out more. There, Olivia Ngo said that the previous afternoon, Chloe had come to her house to play after work. Chloe had dinner with Olivia's family. They had agreed beforehand that Chloe would stay overnight with Olivia. That's why when Chloe arrived, she brought a small handbag containing clothes and necessary personal items. However, about 2 hours after dinner, while Olivia was in the bathroom, Chloe, who was outside, called in. Chloe said she had something urgent to do and had to leave immediately, promising to see Olivia another day. Just like that, Chloe drove off into the night, not even waiting for Olivia to come out and say goodbye. The time Chloe left was around 9:30 p.m. According to daily records, Chloe Cao usually traveled by an old motorcycle owned by her father from her home in Hin Dinh Village to her job at a private sewing workshop in town, a distance of about 7 kilometers. Chloe Cao, 24 years old, was still unmarried when she left Olivia's house. She only carried a small handbag containing a set of clothes. Mr. Cao didn't believe his daughter would run away from home. She had no reason to do so. A sense of unease began to grow. Mr. Cao then contacted Larry Luo in Thuong Binh Village, who currently had his daughter's phone, to retrieve it. Within the next hour, family and friends organized a search around Thuong Binh Village and Hin Dinh Village, but they still couldn't find any trace of Chloe Cao's current whereabouts. Worried that something dangerous had happened to her, the family decided to report the incident to the local police. After receiving the report from the family, the criminal police force of Dong Then County quickly sent officers to the Cao family's home to gather specific information. The family stated that they had not received any calls from Chloe Kao since the previous night, nor had the family experienced any unexpected incidents. Mr. and Mrs. Kao had assumed their daughter was sleeping at her friend Olivia Ngo's house, as she had informed them via text message. As for Chloe appearing hurried when leaving her best friend Olivia Ngo's house, everyone was completely unsure what was wrong with her also. Since the previous night, Mr. and Mrs. Kao and some other relatives had not received any threatening calls. As far as was known, Chloe Kao was in good physical, health, and mental condition. In recent days, the family had not noticed any unusual behavior from her. Chloe wasn't exceptionally tall, but was considered of standard height. The family had never heard Chloe mention any debts or any person putting pressure on her. The information provided by the family basically led the police to rule out the possibility that Chloe Kao had run away from home for some reason. The authorities then moved to Larry Luu's house to collect information. Mr. Luu's son, young Leo Luo, led the police to the location where he had found Chloe Kao's mobile phone. The phone was lying in a patch of low grass by the roadside. This was a dirt road surrounded by cornfields. The nearest house to this area was about 150 meters away. The police expanded their search in the cornfield, but found no unusual traces. When inquiring with neighboring households, 3 out of 5 said they went to bed before 9 p.m. the previous night. The remaining 2 households stated that although they were still awake at that time, their doors were closed and people were watching movies or busy with personal matters, so basically, they didn't notice anything happening outside. Thuong Binh is a remote rural village with a not-so-dense population. Local people mainly make a living from agriculture. Economic conditions are average to low. The roads here are not equipped with surveillance videos, nor do any households in the village own this modern equipment. Therefore, the task of finding clues faced many difficulties. The unusual disappearance of Chloe Kao made the police begin to suspect a bad situation had occurred. The current question was what happened on the night of July 24th that made Chloe Kao seem so rushed to leave, not even waiting for her friend Olivia Ngo to come out of the bathroom to see her off. Olivia Ngo's mother told the police that at that time, she was sitting opposite Chloe Kao in the guest reception area. Initially, Chloe answered a call. When the phone rang, she initially pressed answer, but then she suddenly looked around and decided to go outside to the yard to talk. Because of the distance, Olivia's mother couldn't tell if the other person was male or female. However, as soon as she finished the call, Chloe immediately picked up her handbag, slung it over her shoulder, went to the bathroom door, and informed Olivia that she needed to leave right away. Olivia's mother said she observed Chloe's expression at that time. It was clearly hurried, but her face didn't show anxiety. She felt as if Chloe had received some good news and was very excited. According to what the police had gathered from everyone, Chloe Kao's behavior was indeed a bit unusual. The police believed their next task was to quickly find out why Chloe left so suddenly. This meant identifying who made the call to Chloe that evening. The police then examined Chloe Kao's mobile phone that was dropped on the road. However, because the phone had a password-locked screen, they temporarily couldn't find out anything. With the help of technicians at a mobile phone shop, the police were finally able to unlock it and check the call log. The police found that Chloe's last answered call was at 9:26 p.m. on July 24th, from a number ending in 326. In addition, there were a total of 11 missed calls between around 10:15 p.m. and 10:45 p.m., also from the number ending in 326 on the same day. This phone number had called Chloe once earlier, a missed call around 11:50 a.m., after which Chloe had called back around 12:01 p.m. The call duration was 7 minutes. Upon closer inspection, this number seemed to be a frequent contact of Chloe Kao, but for some reason, she hadn't saved the name. The police also checked the message folder. The current message folder was empty. In the photo album, the police found many photos of Chloe Kao with an older-looking man. Most were selfies, including photos of them kissing. Their expressions led the police to believe that this person was likely Chloe Kao's boyfriend. The police showed these pictures to Chloe's family. However, None of them recognized this unfamiliar man. The family said they had never heard their daughter mention having a boyfriend. When they asked, she always said she was currently focused on earning money and wasn't interested in other things yet. As for the phone number ending in 326, no one knew who it belonged to. The authorities then contacted this mysterious phone number. Initially, the person on the other end picked up but said nothing, then actively hung up. On the second call, they couldn't get through anymore. The unusual behavior of the call recipient made the police very suspicious. To quickly find out the identity of the owner of the number ending in 326, the police contacted the telecommunications department. However, unfortunately, the subscriber number was not registered under a real name, so the other party's identity remained an unknown. Currently, the police's investigation targets included the owner of the aforementioned subscriber number and the identity of the man who frequently took couple photos with Chloe Kao. While interviewing colleagues at Chloe Kao's private sewing workshop in town, the police learned that Chloe seemed to be in a relationship with a man. The group of colleagues had seen Chloe being picked up for lunch a few times. However, it seemed Chloe didn't like to publicize this matter. She always seemed evasive when asked and never let the person stop the vehicle in front of the workshop gate. Instead, she would walk a short distance to where the man was parked waiting. During phone conversations at lunchtime, Chloe would either go to the bathroom to talk or go somewhere a bit further away. The investigators showed the picture of the man taken with Chloe Kao to her colleagues at the sewing workshop, but all of them said they didn't know if the person was the man who frequently picked her up, because most of the time, the man wore a helmet, a mask, and covered his face very well. Even if they wanted to be nosy, it was difficult. Her best friend Olivia Ngo also revealed to the police that Chloe Kao seemed to have a boyfriend, because recently Chloe often texted Olivia asking for advice on how to groom her appearance and about suitable gifts for men. Olivia Ngo guessed so, but no matter how hard she tried to probe, Chloe would just hum and haw, unwilling to share. At this point, some questions were raised. Was the man in the photos with Chloe the same person who often picked her up from the sewing workshop for lunch? Was this man Chloe's boyfriend? Was he the owner of the subscriber number ending in 326? Why was Chloe so secretive, unwilling to share her relationship even with her family and close friends? Near the sewing workshop where Chloe Kao worked, there was a shop selling handicraft products. Colleagues said the mysterious man often stood near this shop to wait for Chloe. The police then went to the said shop and learned that the shop had surveillance equipment outside. Colleagues at the sewing workshop also confirmed to the police that 2 days before Chloe suddenly disappeared, that man came again, just like every time. He parked his vehicle near the handicraft shop. The direction the man parked his vehicle happened to be in line with the surveillance camera. Based on the newly collected information, the police proceeded to check the surveillance video from 2 days before Chloe disappeared. That is, on July 22nd, the image on the surveillance camera showed that around 12 p.m., after walking from the sewing workshop gate to the pickup point, Chloe got on the man's vehicle. The man used an intimate gesture with Chloe. He stroked her cheek and put a helmet on her. Then they both left, although they couldn't determine the couple's specific destination. The police still recorded the license plate number by zooming in on the image from the surveillance video at the shop. After obtaining information about the license plate, the police quickly traced the owner's identity. The owner of the Land brand vehicle was a man named Dylan Liao, 39 years old, from Luang Kao Town. In a detailed investigation into Dylan Liao, the police learned that Dylan was married and currently owned a used motorcycle dealership locally. The police quickly arranged a face-to-face meeting with Dylan Liao. When faced with questions related to a girl named Chloe Kao, Dylan Liao firmly denied knowing anyone like that. Dylan Liao's lying behavior made the police even more wary of him. The police continued to ask about the mobile number ending in 326. Dylan denied being the owner of this number. When the police presented evidence, images printed from the surveillance video in front of the handicraft shop near the sewing workshop, Dylan Liao began to appear flustered. Dylan Liao hesitated for a long time before admitting that he was the one driving the motorcycle in the photo, and the girl on the motorcycle was Chloe Cao. Dylan said the reason he had denied it so vehemently before was that he didn't want his affair to be exposed. Dylan's wife was very fierce. If she found out about this, she might make things difficult for him too. Dylan confessed to the police that he and Chloe Cao met by chance at a diner near the private sewing workshop where she currently worked. That day, Chloe was being harassed by a man who wanted to touch her. Dylan saw this and helped her. From their first meeting, the two kept in touch. Their relationship quickly progressed into a love affair. Because Dylan was having an affair, all his actions were extremely cautious, especially using a separate subscriber number to contact his lover. Chloe Cao also couldn't reveal her love to anyone because she was the third party, interfering in someone else's family happiness. Dylan recounted that on July 24th, he had called and talked to Chloe at noon that evening. Dylan received a call from his wife saying that she and the children would not be home that night but would stay at her parents' house for one night. Dylan saw this as a good opportunity, so he immediately contacted Chloe, telling her to quickly come to their usual meeting spot. Upon receiving the call from Dylan, Chloe agreed and firmly asserted that she would come as quickly as possible. After that, Dylan also quickly got dressed neatly to go to the meeting point. However, he waited and waited but still didn't see Chloe appear. During this time, Dylan continuously called Chloe using the subscriber number ending in 326. The other end rang, but no one answered. Although Dylan felt a bit uneasy, basically, he couldn't do anything. He couldn't go to Chloe's house to ask because that would be tantamount to exposing his extramarital affair step by step. From the night of July 24th until the police found him, Dylan had tried to loiter in front of the sewing workshop gate, but still didn't see her. The authorities made a trip to the Pegasus Hotel, where the two often met. There, from the surveillance video footage, the police recorded images of Dylan Liao entering the lobby to inquire with the receptionist, then going back outside to wait for about an hour before riding away on his motorcycle. Dylan also made actions like taking out his phone to call multiple times. Dylan's testimony was basically quite consistent with the information from the surveillance video. In front of the hotel, suspicion regarding Dylan Liao was temporarily ruled out. According to the information gathered from Dylan Liao, the police basically determined Chloe Cao's route on the evening of July 24th. The situation that occurred then was probably as follows. After receiving the call from her lover, Chloe Cao hurriedly rode her motorcycle to the meeting point. Chloe Cao started from her best friend Olivia Ngo's house in Thuong Binh Village. She passed the road surrounded by cornfields. For some reason, possibly due to carelessness, she dropped her mobile phone in the low grass by the roadside. However, if it wasn't an objective reason, it's possible she encountered something in this area previously. Investigators had carefully observed the land around where Chloe Cao's mobile phone was found, but did not detect any signs of dragging or unusual struggle in the nearby cornfields. No phenomenon of fallen crops or any objects belonging to Chloe Cao were found. This situation made the police feel quite puzzled. What problem did Chloe Cao ultimately face while traveling that night? Extensive interviews with residents in Thuong Binh Village yielded no results, because people had either gone to bed or closed their doors and stayed inside as it was already late. Not only had Chloe disappeared, but her motorcycle was also currently nowhere to be found. This unusual event caused residents to fall into a state of anxiety. Although the authorities had intervened, the deadlock had not yet been broken. Some residents began to rumor that Chloe Cao had been harmed by someone on her way. This person could be an enemy or a random robber, not ruling out the possibility of a pervert with intentions of sexual assault. These rumors made local residents, especially young girls, extremely wary. They limited going out alone at night to minimize any potential risks. Many days have now passed since Chloe Cao suddenly and unusually disappeared. Her family is in a state of distress. Neighbors are comforting them while also assisting in the search to the best of their ability. The search is concentrated into villages Thuong Binh and Hin Dinh, These two localities border each other and also adjoin a mountainous area. The terrain here is uneven, with winding, difficult-to-travel roads. Both sides of the road are deserted, covered by corn and sugarcane fields. Currently, both corn and sugarcane are in a dense growth stage, making it very difficult to get an overall picture. Police believe that if Chloe Cow encountered a robber on the road, it means the robber took her property, including a bulky item like the motorcycle. Assuming this case is true, it's likely the motorcycle has been sold for money. The family stated that Chloe Cow wore a gold necklace, which she bought with her first salary from the sewing workshop. With this information, the police divided into several teams. They began visiting used motorcycle markets and jewelry shops in neighboring areas to check if any motorcycle and necklace with characteristics similar to Chloe Cow's had been sold recently. On July 28th, for days since Chloe Cow suddenly went missing, the Dong Thanh County Criminal Police received a report call from a resident of Thuong Binh Village, stating that an unusual grave had been discovered in the cemetery area. This grave looked suspiciously makeshift. The informant, Mr. Thuong, said that normally two types of graves appear in the cemetery. One is for well-off families. After burying the deceased, they will proceed to build a proper tomb immediately. In the other case, those who are not well off will set up a simple tombstone at the head of the deceased. The mound of earth is reinforced around with stone slabs, commonly used for house foundations. The purpose of this is to prevent rain from washing away the soil. However, regarding this grave, Mr. Thuong noted it was buried quite shoddily, with no tombstone and no surrounding stones. Notably, Mr. Thuong also detected a foul odor, as if the deceased's body was buried quite shallowly. After receiving the report from Mr. Thuong, the criminal police force quickly arrived at Thuong Binh Village. Besides the unusual points Mr. Thuong had indicated, the police also learned important information that recently there had been no funerals in the locality. They also didn't know whose grave this was or when it appeared. After confirmation from the local authorities that no deceased person had been buried in the cemetery recently, nor had there been any grave relocations in this area, the police's suspicion grew stronger. In principle, burial must be carried out carefully. To successfully dig a deep grave pit requires at least a group of people working for hours. The smell of decay indicated that the burial process was quite careless. People believed that such an important matter should not be handled so perfunctorily. Currently, the police suspected there was a body under this plot of land, but it was not a body buried with a coffin, but likely a body in direct contact with the earth. The body was located not far from the surface. With their extensive experience, the police judged that this was likely an act of concealing a crime. After much discussion, the police decided, along with local authorities, to excavate this area, of course, to avoid any taboos. Ritual offerings were also performed. Indeed, as the soil was gradually removed, a female body in a state of decomposition appeared underneath. The body was placed bare, in direct contact with the earth. Notably, the body was completely naked. The autopsy was conducted on site. Upon preliminary observation, many bruises and superficial abrasions appeared on the victim's body. The victim's tongue was injured and bleeding, while the genital area was swollen. Pubic hair had been shaved off, and serious injuries were noted on the surface of the victim's chest. The victim's chest had scratch marks, the buttocks bore clear welt marks, and both hands had burn spots, similar to cigarette burns. A large amount of semen was extracted from the vagina by the technical department. No clear fatal injury was found. With the naked condition combined with the obvious bruises, the police initially concluded that the victim had likely been brutally sexually assaulted. It was possible she had been tortured multiple times over a long period. The cause of death was probably due to exhaustion from torture, based on the state of decomposition of the corpse, combined with environmental factors where the body was found. Forensic doctors initially determined that the victim had died about a day before. Basically, the face could still be identified by the naked eye. Through identification by residents in Thuong Binh Hamlet, the victim's identity was confirmed as Ms. Vivian Luo, 24 years old. Vivian Luo lived about nearly 2 kilometers from the cemetery. Vivian's mother had passed away when she was young, and her father had died less than a year ago. Vivian was unmarried. Before being murdered, she lived alone in a small house left by her parents. Vivian was not highly educated and had no special skills, so she worked year-round doing handicraft weaving at home. The work was light, so the salary was not very high. Vivian's circumstances were generally quite difficult. Police inferred that because Vivian lived alone, although she had been missing for at least a day, no one had noticed when inspecting Vivian Liu's house. The police found no signs of ransacking or struggle indicating it was the scene of an attack. The current question was, where was the primary crime scene? With the clues gathered so far, the police believed that Vivian Liu's murder was a sexual assault committed by a sexual deviant. The fact that the perpetrator targeted a girl living alone with few relatives around made the police suspect the perpetrator knew a lot about the victim's circumstances. As extensive interviews were conducted with the participation of a large number of police officers, the case gradually saw new progress. A neighbor, Ms. Tay, living closest to victim Vivian Liu's house, told police that on the evening of July 26th, she had seen Vivian walking alone back and forth on the dirt road. When Ms. Tay asked, she learned that Vivian was feeling uncomfortable due to the hot weather and couldn't sleep, so she went out for some fresh air. The time Ms. Tay met Vivian was around 9:30 p.m. Ms. Tay and others said Vivian was very independent. She had lived near the forest since she was a child, so she was very brave. Although living alone, she was not afraid of anything. The information provided by the neighbor became a useful clue for the police. Police believed it was possible Vivian encountered danger on the evening she went out for a walk. Victim Vivian Liu lived in Thuong Binh Village. Meanwhile, the girl Chloe Cao was confirmed missing since leaving her friend Olivia Ngo's house, also in Thuong Binh Village. What caught the police's attention was that the distance from Vivian Liu's house to the section of road where Chloe Cao's mobile phone was found was not too far, estimated at only 500 meters. Investigators noticed a common point between these two cases. Apart from them both being young women, there was also the possibility that they both encountered danger at night. With the current clues, the police surmised the suspect was somewhere very nearby. To avoid missing any clues, the authorities decided to launch an in-depth investigation of all households in Thuong Binh Village, especially those with men in their youth or middle age, and widowed men currently living alone. During this investigation, police heard residents mention the name Marcus Luong. Marcus Luong, 43 years old, his wife had left him 6 years ago. Currently, Marcus lived alone in a spacious house. He farmed and was still quite healthy. Marcus's house was only about 100 meters from victim Vivian Liu's house. They were neighbors with a good relationship. A resident named Liam, living in Thuong Binh Village and also a drinking buddy of Marcus, told police that once when drinking at Marcus's house and getting drunk, when Liam went from the living room to the downstairs area to use the toilet, he, half asleep, half awake, mistakenly entered a storage room next to the toilet. Inside this storage room, Liam saw female underwear of different colors and designs. In addition, on the walls were pasted pictures of beautiful models with hot bodies. Initially, Liam was a bit surprised by this situation. However, thinking back, Liam wasn't too puzzled because Marcus's wife had been gone for many years. Since then, Marcus hadn't dated anyone. Marcus was still at an age where sexual desire was high, so it was understandable to see such images in his house. In the following days, when Liam teased Marcus about collecting these items, Marcus showed clear displeasure. Anyway, Liam had entered the storage room without the owner's permission, so he felt he was wrong. Sensing Marcus's discomfort, Liam didn't mention this sensitive issue anymore. The two maintained a good relationship. However, since then, Marcus was not seen actively inviting friends home for drinks, but instead, they would go to a pub or someone else's house. This information immediately attracted the police's attention. Police found that Marcus Luong fit many suspicious aspects, including living near the victim, living alone, and having a strange hobby of collecting unusual items. The police then quickly moved to Marcus Luong's House. The house was closed and currently unoccupied. The authorities walked around the unused pigsty of Marcus Luong's house. Police discovered a motorcycle parked inside it. Covered by a total of 2 thick planks, the motorcycle was quickly confirmed by Mr. Cao, the father of the missing girl Chloe Cao, as his own. With this evidence, along with the mysterious disappearance of the homeowner Marcus Luong, the police felt even more suspicious. They decided to conduct a search of this house. The house had a total of 5 rooms. In the locked storage room, police discovered a horrifying scene. Inside the storage room, the missing girl Chloe Cao was lying sprawled on the floor, completely naked. Chloe's mouth was taped shut, and numerous bruises appeared on her body. Her face was gaunt and emaciated, signs indicating she had been brutally sexually assaulted. Around the spacious storage room, police counted nearly 50 pieces of female underwear, both top and bottom. Large photos of female models in bikinis showing off seductive figures. Many pornographic magazines and 18 comics were stacked up. The underwear was carefully hung on hooks, displayed much like a miniature shop. Next to where Chloe lay were 2 half-eaten bowls of rice, energy drinks, and bottled water. There were many dried bloodstains on the floor. In a corner of the room, police found a handbag containing Chloe Cao's identification papers. Chloe Cao was quickly taken to the city hospital. Chloe Cao's weak condition made everyone extremely worried, however. With the support of highly specialized doctors and with her relatives by her side, taking care of her, Chloe regained consciousness. Chloe Cao told the police that on the evening of July 24th, while on her way from her best friend Olivia Ngo's house to her rendezvous with Dylan Liao, a man stood on the road, waving his hand signaling Chloe to stop. This man was none other than Marcus Luong. Marcus said he had just fallen and felt a bit sore, asking Chloe to help take him home, because Marcus said his house was nearby and it was quite convenient anyway. Chloe agreed. Unexpectedly, as soon as she got off the bike, Marcus's pained demeanor from before disappeared. Now he pulled a folding knife from his pocket and held it to Chloe's neck. Chloe realized she had been tricked, but basically couldn't do anything as she was already in his grasp. Marcus subdued Chloe, took her into the storage room containing his morbid collection. Marcus grimaced, gritted his teeth, the knife constantly pointed at Chloe. Chloe was terrified, but could do nothing but cry. She dared not scream, because screaming would get her stabbed at any moment with the vicious weapon. Marcus ordered Chloe to take off her clothes and lie down on the floor. The storage room door was bolted shut. Chloe screamed for a while until he taped her mouth shut. During the day she was locked up. Chloe was sexually assaulted by Marcus using sadistic methods twice. He only fed her and gave her drinks twice a day and took her to the toilet twice. Until July 26th, Marcus brought home another girl. This person was the deceased victim, Vivian Luo. Vivian was also harmed with the exact same method as Chloe. Marcus performed all sorts of horrifying sadistic acts and positions on Vivian. Witnessing this scene firsthand, Chloe felt immense pain for Vivian and for herself, but could do nothing. She could only cry until her eyes were swollen. That day, Vivian was on her period, however. This did not reduce Marcus's lust. He raped Vivian for a long time. Vivian's face turned visibly pale. It seemed because Vivian couldn't meet Marcus's demands. He continuously slapped her hard, beat her with a whip, kicked her in the stomach, and even strangled her. Not long after Vivian lay motionless, Marcus dragged Vivian away in front of Chloe. Chloe was still locked up and fed twice a day before the police came to rescue her. On the second day of the search operation, the police finally found Marcus Luong hiding in the mountains. He had been surviving on wild fruits and stream water because he was exhausted. He was quickly apprehended. At the station, Marcus Luong confessed to the police that on the night of July 24th, he had had a little to drink. So falling in the middle of the road was true. However, Marcus was still very clear-headed. While sitting behind Chloe on the bike, he saw her mobile phone sticking out of her jacket pocket. While trying to nudge the phone, he accidentally dropped it on the road. Marcus said that for many years he had lacked female companionship. With a little alcohol, his lust surged uncontrollably. The idea of raping Chloe appeared in his mind. With the folding knife he always carried in his pocket, he decided to act in just a few moments. All the acts committed against Chloe and Vivian were exactly as Chloe had narrated. Marcus said the reason his wife left him for good was also due to his sadistic nature. To satisfy his evil desires, he made his wife do all sorts of things, but she would lie still like a log, making him angry. After such beatings, his wife secretly left. Living alone for so many years, Marcus also regularly went to town monthly for prostitutes. But on one occasion, he coincidentally saw on TV and in newspapers about the risk of HIV infection. So he decided to stop soliciting prostitutes to satisfy his animalistic urges. Marcus went to the market to buy lots of underwear, pornographic magazines, and large photos of female models. He had turned his storage room into what he called a wonderland. Of course, to avoid being discovered by anyone, Marcus went to markets far from the local one and always kept the storage room door locked. The only thing was that once, being careless and forgetting to lock it, he was discovered by his friend Liam. Marcus worried that if Liam revealed it, he would lose face, so he threatened Liam. Marcus used both threats and bribes, giving Liam money to keep him quiet. Being neighbors, Marcus knew Vivian Liu well, but couldn't control his lust when he saw her in a short, thin skirt. That night, he saw Vivian and pretended to have a leg injury. Vivian helped Marcus into the house, and as a result, he dragged her into the storage room, making her the second victim. Marcus confessed that he had abused Vivian regardless of her physiological condition. Vivian had a history of heart disease, perhaps not as strong as Chloe, so she passed away after his brutal torture after Vivian died. Marcus took the body to the cemetery. He worked hard to dig a hole and bury the body in the night. Of course, because he was working alone, the hole was not very deep, and the burial was also perfunctory. Because he was too exhausted, Marcus Luong was sentenced to death for his unimaginably inhumane actions. Marcus Luong's crimes were too serious. Many people, out of anger, cursed and even threatened to beat Marcus at the trial. What do you think about the perpetrator and today's case? Please comment below to let us know. Thank you for watching this entire video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to receive notifications about the newest videos.